In today's world of market volatility and uncertainty, your retirement plans need to be front and center. With ever-changing tax laws, healthcare worries, and an unpredictable stock market, don't overlook the vulnerability in your retirement planning. Protecting your family and estate will be difficult with shifting policies in Washington. It's more important than ever to keep an eye on retirement.
Hi, and welcome into Eye on Retirement, the weekly show that keeps you in the know about all things retirement. I'm your host and financial advisor, Julie Newton with Market Advisory Group. I'm filling in as host for Rick Everett this episode. Along with me, we have a full complement of panelists today to include tax professional Susan Curtis with Market Tax Services, health insurance advisor with Market Medicare Advisors, Taylor Bevan, and Jenna Moody, paralegal for Eidelman Law Firm. Welcome in, everyone. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about kind of a unique situation with Paul and Anna. So a few months ago, I met with Paul and Anna. Both were 65 at the time. Paul was still working and was planning to work a few more years because like most people in that age group, they were interested in all things retirement and working with the team who handles everything under one roof. And that was just what they were looking for. So we talked about their situation. We agreed to schedule some time to sit down for step 2 of our process as soon as Paul was done traveling for work. Unfortunately, 6 months later, Paul passed away very suddenly. And so today's story is going to be kind of all about how we helped Anna through that situation. So we're going to start with Taylor Bevan of Market Medicare Advisors, because when Paul passed away, Anna no longer had health insurance. She was already 65. So what does someone who is 65 do if they suddenly need insurance and they don't have it?
Yeah, so once her employer coverage stops, she's not covered at all. So it's important to realize that, like, once an event like this happens, we need to act quickly. Fortunately for Anna, she knew that there was a sense of urgency. In her case, she had almost 3 weeks left on her insurance coverage because of the insurance being paid at the beginning of the month. It lasted through the end of the month. So we had 3 weeks, but 3 weeks is not a lot of time. So we had to work quickly. And we took a look at what Medicare options that we could get for her.
So you're saying it's not really possible to set up a Medicare plan and get everything in place in just 3 weeks. It requires a little bit more time.
It's possible, but it's not ideal. The timing is something that everyone needs to be thinking about when it comes to Medicare. Your Medicare application period opens 3 months before your 65th birthday. And we didn't have 3 months in Anna's case, but we still were able to, fortunately, work fast enough to find her coverage.
So is there anything that people can do in advance that kind of helps that situation? So let's say we've got someone who's continuing to work, but they know when that retirement date is going to be. Is there any way they can speed up that process at all for themselves?
Yeah, so typically we like to recommend people who are going to continue employer coverage beyond 65 to start their Part A. This is only if there are no HSA contributions. That unfortunately adds an extra layer of things that we need to be mindful of when starting Medicare. So that way, when you are ready for your Part B to start, we already have that Medicare number, and it's a lot quicker to get your Part B turned on and for us to be able to get an application put in.
So that's something then that people can really find value when they're working with a complete team like us, with a team like Market Medicare Advisors who are really experienced in that kind of thing. You all know, kind of the ins and outs and what they need to be doing in advance, making sure they're doing everything that they can so that in a situation like this, obviously, Paul and Anna couldn't really have predicted any of this and would never have wanted to. But in that moment, when they really needed someone, we were able to step in as a complete team and just get them on the path. So it could have been a lot worse. This story could have ended so much more differently for Anna in terms of healthcare if we hadn't been able to step in.
Right. And so fortunately, Anna had taken our advice when we initially met with her and had started her Part A. It does help, working with a complete retirement team, especially for those unexpected events. They went to see you for financial advice, and in that meeting, you had discovered a Medicare need. We were able to step in, and we had no idea when we were in that meeting that Paul was going to pass in 6 months. There's no planning for that. And so when he passed away and Anna was going to lose that health insurance coverage, and she had already taken those steps that we recommended, it was that much easier for us to work with that 3-week turnaround time that she had unfortunately been stuck with.
And I think that that's one of the things that makes this such a special team to be able to work with everyone in the way that we do, is because we're always thinking about planning. We're not just thinking about the moment. We're always planning for, things happen in life, especially in retirement. Some of the biggest changes we go through obviously happens during retirement. And so having that opportunity to plan for the unexpected as much as we can make a big difference in someone's life, right?
Yeah, we potentially saved Anna thousands of dollars not having to go on COBRA insurance because that was looking like what was going to be her only option. And, because we had met with her and, explored all of the options and not just, what most people are commonly aware of are the options, it did end up saving her because COBRA is not cheap.
No, it's not. And, I've talked to a lot of people when they've been in that situation, and not the same as Anna and Paul, but they're in that situation where they know they're going to need money and they're going to need that health care. And so don't worry about it. We'll just sign up for COBRA. It'll be fine. And a lot of people don't realize just how expensive that can be. And your coverage changes very drastically. And so having someone to sit down and say, okay, this is what COBRA is going to cost you if you have to go that route. So we need to be thinking about what could happen in the future.
Yeah, not only is that something that we need to be aware of, but also with the risk of the potential late penalties for starting Part B.
Right. Yeah, and that's a big piece. It's funny that you say that. A lot of people, when they come in and sit down with me, one of their major concerns is, I don't want to have those penalties on my Part B premiums for life. And I certainly understand that. So getting the right help with Medicare is important. Those flyers in the mail and in your inbox don't tell you everything you need to know. Having a Medicare advisor who'll sit down with you and go through your situation can save you a lot of money. Working with a complete team, a complete retirement team, also makes a big difference. If you'd like a complimentary, no obligation visit with our team at Market Advisory Group, give us a call at 316-252-8707 or check out our website at ironretirement.com. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation about Anna's situation and how our tax team was able to help.
Out on the water, there is a moment. Perfect synchronization. The team working together in harmony to reach their goal. Now, imagine finding a team of financial professionals to help run your course down the river of retirement. Market Advisory Group is that team. Financial advisors, tax professionals, estate planning attorneys, and Medicare advisors. All in the same boat. If you don't have a team like this in one place, it can become a hassle to relay information between them. When you come to Market Advisory Group, we bring everyone together for you to get you answers in real time, to help make sure you don't miss something that puts your unique plan off course. You shouldn't be the one doing all the work to keep your retirement on pace. You should have a team in the boat with you. Your voice telling them where you're at, where you'd like to end up, and how you want to get there. And at that point, everyone falls into sync, all pulling in the same direction, toward the same purpose. Your retirement's financial security. We are Market Advisory Group, proud sponsor of Shocker Rowing.
Welcome back into Eye on Retirement. We're continuing the story of Anna and how our complete retirement team was able to help her at a very difficult time in her life. Since Paul passed away before the end of the year, there were questions about taxes on his life insurance, as well as filing Paul's last tax return. So we're going to go now to Susan with Market Tax Services. Susan, I'd assume the conversation was pretty important and pretty concerning for Anna, because there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to filing that last tax return.
Yes, and Anna's big question was basically like, how do I file? What's my filing status? I don't know where to go. And when you're married, it's either married filing joint or married filing separate. But in Anna's case, since we didn't know which was going to be the better of the two, we went ahead and did a projection to see which one would be more advantageous to her.
So that's something that's really important, is to have a team that can actually look at that and see which is more advantageous for the client. So what about taxation on Paul's retirement accounts and the life insurance? I know Anna had questions about those.
Since Anna and Paul were married, Anna was able to take over the accounts as if they were her own, or she could roll them into her own IRA. There are some advantages to rolling his accounts into her name, but in their situation, since she was already of the age of 65, it didn't really make sense for that to happen.
So most people probably don't think about the importance of having a tax professional as part of their trusted team when a spouse dies, do they?
No, they don't. I mean, the surviving spouse, a lot of times they don't even think about filing their taxes until it's like close to the due date, and then they're scrambling and they don't know where to go. And by, if they try to attempt to do their own taxes, they don't have that professional to help guide them through the process. And by working with a team, a well-qualified team, we help take that guesswork out of, what's going on, and we basically paved that roadmap for her.
And that's really important in Anna's situation, because it's not just about knowing when and how to file that tax return and doing the projection, but Anna was going through the grieving process still. I mean, end of life things, when someone passes away, you've got all of this stuff that you have to take care of. And, there was life insurance and there was the investment accounts, but there's also this whole process of, well, how do I speak with other people, how do I talk with their grandchildren? What do I even need to do to change this or change that? And so it's really difficult, as we talked when we were speaking with Taylor, knowing what to do. When do I supply documentation? How do I supply documentation? And so if you're sitting here with an entire team that's really looking at your situation, it gives you that opportunity to understand what is the most important? When do I need to do this, rather than just, here it is and deal with it, right?
Right. A lot of times, when people are going through that grieving process, they tend to kind of freeze, and they're out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
And in her case, by her coming to us and allowing us to help her, we did take all that guesswork out. We were able to tell her, okay, these are the steps you need to take, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and that's hard because life suddenly has changed.
Yes.
It's not the same anymore. And all of these things that you've done, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever that looks like, all of these things that you have been doing all of this time, suddenly it's all very different. And again, it's not just your taxes, but it's your medical, your insurance, but it's the way you do everything every day. Your income changes, everything changes. And so if you're working with a complete team, that gives you the opportunity to have that sounding board when something comes up. And I know in Anna's case, she's had to call in and talk to you a couple of times to, just, am I doing the right thing? Do I need to do something different? And you're always available for her, right?
Yes, I am.
Oh, yeah. And that's fantastic. I know that's comforting to people to have that. And so that's one of the things that is super important for people. It isn't just about working with that complete team. It's also about having a group of people that have your interests in heart, then and know, they've been experiencing this with you, and they kind of know how to direct you and get you on the straight and narrow. So I know Anna really appreciates everything that you've done for her, and hopefully you'll be working with her for years in the future, right?
I enjoy working with her very much. One of the things that she had mentioned to me was, when I come in, I feel like I'm the most important, and nobody else matters. And at that time, she is the most important.
That's an excellent point that you bring up, because I've had, as you know, other clients who've said that to me. It's like, you don't need to take all of that time with me, but it's not that we're taking up our time. They are the most important person in the room in that moment, making sure that they are taken care of and all of their needs are met, right?
Right.
Right. If you're not working with a financial advisor, Medicare advisor, tax professional, and estate planning attorney who coordinate as a team to provide advice that is tailored to your specific situation, you may not be getting complete advice. If you'd like a complimentary, no obligation visit with our team at Market Advisory Group, give us a call at 316-252-8707 or check out our website at ionretirement.com. When we come back, we'll talk to Jenna with Eidelman Law Firm about her team and how they were able to help Anna make important estate planning decisions.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to Eye on Retirement. We've been talking about Paul and Anna and how our team was able to help Anna with Paul's final taxes and how to get Anna some health coverage now that she can no longer be on Paul's insurance. So Jenna with Eidelman Law Firm, I'm going to go to you. What was going on for Anna in all of this? I know she was overwhelmed. She didn't want to just leave a difficult situation for the next person. And so how were you all able to work with Anna and kind of get her on the right estate planning path?
Well, with Anna's situation, luckily, Paul's 401k, her investments, her life insurance, that all came through beneficiary designations. So those beneficiary designations are all important when it comes to passing assets, to the next person. And so it's very important, for people to make sure that those beneficiary designations are up to date and they are, designating the people that they want, not necessarily an ex-spouse or, there are all kinds of situations that can arise with beneficiary designations. But with Anna's situation, it was important that, everything came to her. All of Paul's stuff came to her. And their home, they owned as joint tenants with right of survivorship, which means that when he died, his half of the house went to her. And so now it was just a matter of figuring out her estate plan and where do we go from here? Because they did not have any children. So it wasn't necessarily just an easy, it's just going to go to my kids. It doesn't always happen that way.
And we hear that a lot, actually. I'm always getting folks that come in and sit down to visit and they say, I don't have anyone to leave this to. I have no children. What do I do with my stuff? And so what we find is that a lot of people just put it off. They don't make those decisions. They don't know who they trust enough to be their executor or that kind of thing. And so they just put things off until the future. And unfortunately, there's a situation like Paul and Anna's where that was it. And they needed to do something different. So how do you kind of get through this with folks, when there isn't a plan in place? How do you go through that process of helping them make decisions?
Well, again, it's just about having the conversation with, understanding their unique situation. And in Anna's situation, she had, a beloved sister that she trusted. And so it was important not just for, the conversation of, is a will more important or is a trust more important? It was important for her to understand, I need somebody that can make financial decisions for me now. I need somebody that can help me make healthcare decisions now. And so her sister was able to step in and become her agent for powers of attorney, for financial and health decisions while she was still, alive and doing great. And then, in the conversation with the attorney, it was, who am I going to leave my assets to? I have a niece and nephew that I love. I would love to put some of that, for their education and, when they want to buy a car. And so, we made that discussion of, we'll put that aside into a trust. Her sister could be a successor trustee. And that way, when she passed away, she knew that her nieces and nephews had what they needed for their education and they could go to school or, get what they needed.
And that's really an important piece. So, a lot of times people will, I've heard them go through the conversation with one of the attorneys. It's like, again, I don't know who to pick and how do I navigate this? How do I decide? And who do I trust enough to help me with those decisions? So, a lot of times when we're in that situation and we get confronted with that, or like Paul and Anna, it's this very difficult conversation, or maybe there's family dynamic that's tense and uncomfortable. And so how do you walk through that minefield, if you will, of how do I navigate through this? How do we have this conversation and address the issues here without opening Pandora's box, if you will?
It can be a little bit of a minefield. Family dynamics are very important, and everybody's family dynamics are different. Sometimes you've got blended families where, his kids, her kids. Or you've got, nieces and nephews that want to come in and, I want to make sure I get my piece. Well, it's all about having a conversation. It's important to keep that communication open and understanding that when you're talking to somebody and getting information about their family, that there's no judgment. It's okay. It's going to be okay. And that's the important piece of knowing that.
And I think you hit that right there, that A, communication, and B, it's going to be fine. We'll get through this. And working with a team of professionals who can kind of help you navigate through that, I think that is super important because, as we've all discovered, as a team, we can do so much more and really help people with their retirement, help them to have that comfort, knowing that, again, the whole team is focused on just them in that moment. So sometimes making tough decisions about who your beneficiary should be can be guided by your retirement team. Having someone to bounce ideas off can be really beneficial. If you aren't working with a complete retirement team, the financial advisor, estate planning attorney, Medicare advisor, tax professional, you may not be getting complete advice, and you may be missing out on important teams of professionals who can help you navigate those tough decisions. So, if you'd like a complimentary, no obligation visit with one of our team, our entire team at Market Advisory Group, give us a call, 316-252-8707, or check out our website at eyeonretirement.com. That is all the time that we have for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. I am Julie Newton, along with the entire panel, reminding you that we're here to keep an eye on retirement.
Unless otherwise indicated, all client and prospect names mentioned on this show have been changed to protect the identities of the individuals discussed. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns are not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. Legal services are offered by Edelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. The guest commentators featured in this show are not investment advisor representatives of Foundations and do not provide advisory services. Market Advisory Group does have several investment advisor representatives that can provide such services. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any U.S. government agency, the Social Security Administration, or associated with any federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal/tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies. All rights reserved.